our special guest today, the MPEDA chairman, Mr. Dodda Venkata. Heartily welcome you, sir, to this meeting.
Respected Dr. Neelam Patel, madam, who has been engaging with MPEDA, who had given us time in Delhi also, and most of the issues of the sector we have briefed her so that Niti Aayog has in the policy, fishery also is very important sector for them, and she would be able to influence the policies. So many times on many occasions we have met. The organizers, the dignitaries were present here. So initially I was supposed to, my session was a different session. So I'm like in place of Balaji, I'm to say like a substitute player. But yesterday I was telling my staff that we are not substitute player, we are an impact player. So the current IPL or the new system is, if people from South Africa are there, the impact player is what MPEDA has been doing as impact player. A lot of things are being done by MPEDA. But unfortunately, whatever the impact player or the substitute does, sometimes it is not recognized because people don't know what is the truth. Sometimes it is a half truth. What's happening, what kind of support MPEDA is giving, different places, what different departments, what MPEDA is doing. Sometimes people don't recognize the contribution sometimes. So in that context, I would just like to share the experience which I have had in the last 3 months and then connect to the workshop, because while going through the agenda of the workshop, in the last 3 months, intellectually and physically, 2-3 kinds of engagement I have had. One is, we had a discourse on the blue ocean policy of the Indian government. The Prime Minister's office is directly monitoring it, the India's blue economy policy. It's very relevant. I'll come when I conclude why it is important. Then second thing is, I had the opportunity to do a TED trial. The TED trial which the US is insisting. So that TED trial also was taken by MPEDA and CAFT jointly in the month of April. The third thing is, in the month of May, I had gone on election duty to Punjab, to Amritsar. So when I landed in Amritsar, it was in May, it was raining. The rains were not supposed to be coming at that time. It was a time when the wheat harvest happens and it was raining. So a lot of crop loss was there for the farmers. Then I also had the opportunity to see some value-added units in the last 2-3 months in Mumbai. And then in inland area, I had been to Varanasi. I've seen farmers growing sea bass. So all these things, I would like to connect them and then deliberate on today's, because the point is SDG. The point is not about certification. For me, the point is not about certification. Certification is required for SDG purpose. The discourse should not be about the certification. The discourse should be about the SDG goals of sustainable development. Certification is just a part of that. So in that context, do we need sustainability? Yes, MPEDA believes that whatever production happens in this country, whether it is aquaculture or marine catch, it has to be done sustainably. We are convinced, but when we talk about sustainability, here I may be a little critical of the system. So one is the certification. So in development sector, there is something called isomorphic mimicry. So there are 2 types of snakes. One is a venomous snake which will bite. The other one looks like a snake, but it will not bite. So are we looking for a certificate which is venomous, which is actually a real certificate which is ensuring sustainability, or are we looking for a certificate which is just for the sake of exports, which will not ensure sustainability but for the sake of sustainability, just for the sake of export or getting markets? So I believe in the venomous snake, which will help in conserving our resources and fishing in a sustainable way. Now, coming to the action which we are taking, like even if tomorrow certification process starts in India, some of the actions which MPEDA jointly has taken with various agencies, like Netfish. Netfish does lot of sustainability activities along with the farmers. Tomorrow, if you need the certification also, we are talking about certification, but I am going little ahead. Tomorrow, if we agree that certification should happen and if some evaluation happens, are we ready? Yes, I feel that partially we are ready through some of the interventions which MPEDA is doing with different agencies. One is Netfish, which is doing a lot of sustainability activities with the fishermen. Second thing is the TED. The TED which is prescribed by NOAA, that design has been almost approved, and the NOAA authorities have to come to India and then give us a, they have to agree with the design. The design they're fine, but they want to do a trial with us and see the catch loss and the impact. And then after that, the TED should be like in all the trawlers, it should be, we should adopt the TED. So we are on that job. Then we are also having this Marine Mammal Act with the US. There also we have answered many questions. So while answering the questions, the framework which the US authorities are asking, lot of acts are being changed within the country. A lot of systems, institutional mechanisms which are not there have been, like some of the states have got Marine Enforcement Squad. They have come out with some act relevant state amendments. All those things have happened. Then MPEDA itself has banned the fish meal, establishing of new fish meal units. That also is a sustainability effort which we have taken. So the third point which I would like to reflect is, while we talk about this certification and sustainability, we also need to work on our value addition. I think one of the pioneer in value addition is with us here. And what I have seen in the value addition sector, if you focus on value addition with the same amount of catch, you would be able to get more like exports. You will be able to do more exports in terms of value, but you can conserve resources. So Niti Aayog, since it is, out of our total exports, only 8 out of 8 billion, only 10% is value addition. So if we get into value addition, there are a lot of exporters who are here. I've seen Mr. Abba from the Abad also in Barcelona, and then Arjun also, they had set up stalls there. Mostly they were promoting value added products. So if we get into, if we are thinking about sustainability, we have to see how we are other sectors also. It is not like only certification for marine. It should be interlinked with our inland water policy, with our value addition programs, and it should be looked at in a holistic framework. So coming to the data, like data, we would recommend to CMFRI to give the data. It should be open source data. That I would, from MPEDA side, we would definitely recommend. We are with the seafood exporters that CMRFI should not charge cost for this data. It should so whatever support you require, you can inform us. There is going to be a workshop with the state governments. So the next week there is going to be a stay in Goa. There's a workshop where the SCAA president also would be attending, and some of you are also speakers. So after this workshop is over, if you can come up with some solid recommendations, 3 or 4 recommendations, what you need from MPEDA. What you need from MPEDA, what support you need from state governments, and what support you need from fishery department. Then through Niti Aayog we can take up the matter. And I totally agree with Mr. Tarakan that I also am of the same view that like MPEDA also should not get into a certificate program. We should not get into a certificate program ourselves, because we are not an agency who is technically qualified to do a certificate program. Our energy should be to see that what are the existing certificate program across the world and whether our exporters are able to meet those standards and what are the bottlenecks that they are facing, and we should try to remove those bottlenecks instead of getting into our own certification program. Sometimes we get excited to get into certificate program, but also we should negotiate with the certification agencies, but because their standards can't be the same what they have for the developed countries. India itself has a different ecosystem. Like when US was talking about the Marine Mammal Act, a lot of data is asked, but the olive ridleys which are coming back to Odisha shore and laying more eggs every year, that also should be an indicator to say that India is sustainably like guarding its coast. So for India, you should have a separate standard. That is one thing which I urge the certifying authorities also to have in different forums I have been speaking in Seattle or wherever we got a chance, that we should have a different standard for India considering our ecosystems. So whatever support the association or the organizers need, please come. We are open, and we would definitely play an active role. We would just not be a substitute. We would create an impact player's role. We will definitely play. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the very enlightening speech.